You know, there's been a lot of controversy about memorials, plaques, and markers relating to the Civil War era. This one is unique, and this one I hope will start a trend because it doesn't memorialize, it doesn't honor any particular site or position, but it really tells the history of this piece of real estate, what it was and what it meant back then. And it illustrates an irony too, because the original building here was built by a gentleman who was taking care of his widowed sister, and he became a member of the Confederate Congress. But just a couple of years later into the war in 1863, this was the home of the mayor of Murfreesboro, who was appointed by the Union Army. He was a former sheriff, he was a former alderman, he was a former legislator, and he was an ardent opponent of secession. When the Union military occupied and controlled the area, they appointed that native of Murfreesboro, that native of Rutherford County, to be the mayor. And that's what we're telling about here, the irony of the Confederate senator building and then the Union mayor occupying. And then we go on with the history of the property, because after the war, it became the home of one of the most loved educators in the history of our community, Miss L.V. McFadden. And what's interesting there is she wasn't a superintendent, she wasn't a principal, she was a classroom teacher. And for 70 years, this was a McFadden home through several generations. And then in the early 1950s, it was bought and converted into the offices for our daily newspaper, the Daily News Journal, and served for 60 years, again, recording and documenting and illustrating the history of our community. And it's labeled the Brady Tompkins McFadden House, Brady being the sister of the Confederate congressman, Tompkins being our mayor during that period, and McFadden being the educator whose family lived here for so many years. And of course, those of us my age and younger remember when the newspaper office was here for so many years.